Through a couple of different practical examples, we're going to see how to use all the 6 arguments of the XLOOKUP function. We are used to use in the XLOOKUP function in Excel the standard arguments, or the lookup value, where you are looking for the value and what is the range that you want to bring back as result. 3 arguments that we are used to use in the XLOOKUP function or in the vlookup, hlookup, index match. Doesn't matter. If you are using a function that is going to work as a lookup, you always have this standard version, standard arguments to use. But here we're going to see a couple of different arguments, a more specific one, so such as if not found, match mode, and also search mode. The if not found is a criteria, is a condition that we can append to the XLOOKUP function that can help us. If the value is not found, what else can we do instead of bring back an error as result? So you can customize the error message, something like this, okay? Or you can add another formula, another function. We're going to see how to use also this argument, and we're going to see how to use also the match mode argument. That is, I can have an exact match to bring back exactly what I want, what I need. And this exact match in Excel here in the XLOOKUP function is the standard one, okay? So always the XLOOKUP function is going to work as an exact match. So it's going to bring back as result the exactly result that you need. But instead of using this standard option, standard argument, we can change and use exact match or next smaller item or large item. And also you can use the wildcard character match to bring it back as result something similar to the thing that we are looking for. We're going to see in a practical way how to use it. And also we have sort mode. That is, instead of sort first to the last, as we are used to use in the XLOOKUP function, the standard one, first to last, we can also make this order inverted, so last to first. And also we can make the same thing basically, but with a binary system. Let's take a look so in a couple of different examples and how can we apply each one of these different arguments of the XLOOKUP function through these practical situations to solve real problems. Here to the left, I have a table where with a couple of different names of applicants and also the grade that each one of the applicants had or got in a math test and also in a writing test. Let's say by the name of the applicant, such as maybe Marcus Sanders, for example, Marcus Sanders. I want to bring it back as result the math grade and also the writing grade that Marcus had. The XLOOKUP function can help me with that. So it's going to take the first column as reference to look up the thing that I want to look up for, that is the Marcus name. And when it's find the name, I can bring it back as result any correspondent value. So the grade to the left, to the right, the math, or also the grade of the writing. The XLOOKUP function can do it for me. Let's do here one time just to see how the XLOOKUP function is going to work in the standard way. XLOOKUP. I'm going to double click here to select 1, 2. The lookup value that I'm going to use here is the applicant name. That is the name that I have here just over this cell. And then a comma. My second argument here is going to be the lookup array. And as I said before, the lookup array is going to be the first column, the column A, where I have the applicant name, comma again. Now the return array is going to be, let's say, the column B, where I have the grades about the math. Close parentheses and then enter. As you can see, Marcus got 8.21 as the math grade. And yeah, it's correct. And if I change the name, let's say Blake Garcia, the grade is going to be automatically changed for me. Enter. Oh, sorry, there is no N in the Blake. Okay, yeah, that's it. 7.29. And as you guys can see, if I type in a name that doesn't exist in the list, such as John 123 ABC, enter, I'm gonna have here an arrow. And this arrow we can change. Instead of have or got an arrow as a result, we can change the arrow to something else. It can be this something else can be a formula or another function or maybe a customized text. For example, let's do this customized text. 1, 2 here, and I'm gonna delete this last parenthesis, read it off, this last parenthesis, comma, and because I press comma, now I have access here to the fourth argument, that is, if not found, if not found. And with this argument right here, instead of got an error in Excel, we can do another thing. So if the value that I'm looking for is not found in the list, what else can the XLOOKUP function do for me? So the XLOOKUP function can return, let's say, open quotations mark, not found, close quotations mark, close parentheses, and then enter. So instead of got the error as result, whenever I got the error, instead of the error, I'm gonna have this custom text. Instead of do this custom text, I can also type in here a function, a formula, whatever. If the value is not found, you can type in another thing here. You can append a function, formula, or a text like we did here. So this is how we can use this fourth argument of the XLOOKUP function. Now another argument that we can use, for example, is the match mode. But let's take a look here in the writing cell to make it happen, the XLOOKUP function using the match mode. XLOOKUP, double click here, want you to select the value that I'm looking for is the applicant name. I know that John 123 ABC doesn't exist in the list. Comma, the lookup array is going to be the first column that I have here, all the applicants' names. Comma again, the return array now is going to be the writing column. So we're going to select here everything. Okay, if I press enter, I'm going to have an error as a result, of course. It's already know. So let me change the name to something that exists. Miranda James, for example. Miranda James. Okay, so here we got. Instead of, let's say, Miranda James is a name that has also the name and surname, like all the other names that I have here. Cody Ruiz, Caitlin Smith, Gabriel Mitchell, and so on, name and surname. But let's say I'm going to take here Gabriel as example, Gabriel Mitchell. Let's pretend I don't know the whole name of the Gabriel. I just know his name is Gabriel, but I don't remember the surname, or I don't know how to write the surname. I'm going to just type in here Gabriel, and then I'm going to press enter. The XLOOKUP function is going to return for us an error because it's basically telling us the name that we will type in here to look up in the list doesn't exist. But we can think how the Gabriel name doesn't exist in the list. Of course, it exists. It's right here in the row 14. Gabriel Mitchell. The grade is 7.7 and the writing grade is 992. Okay, I know that the Gabriel name exists, but because the lookup value that I just typed in before is not matched with the value that I have in the list, because I typed in before Gabriel, just Gabriel, but the name of the Gabriel is Gabriel Mitchell. This is how it appears, it is displaying the list. So we need to change and use another argument, another sort mode here in the XLOOKUP function to be able to tell the XLOOKUP function, hey, even though I just typed in the first name, I know the applicant name has the name and also the surname, but if I don't know the surname, I'll just type it in the name, and you need to bring me back as result the student or the applicant that corresponds to the name that I typed in. It doesn't matter if I type in the name or surname or just the name. We can do it, okay? So I know that if I ask you, hey, return the grade of the Gabriel, you're gonna tell me, just Gabriel doesn't exist in the list, but I think you are talking about Gabriel Mitchell, so the grade is 7.7. We can do it. So the XLOOKUP function can also do it. The thing that we need to change here is the match mode. Instead of using the standard one that is exact mode, okay, to sort mode, we can use maybe this one right here, wild card character match, okay? And then we can, in the next example, we can use this -1 and 1 to exact match, or the largest value or the first smallest one. But for now, let's take this number 2 here, wild card character match, to use it in the XLOOKUP function. As we can see here, the writing is return an error, but instead of get this error, double click here, we're gonna now input a different match mode here. Let me delete this last parenthesis, comma again, and now we're gonna have access to the match mode. As the match mode right here, I want to use a wild card character match. Let me double click here, let's see what's happened. I'm gonna close parentheses and then enter. Nothing changed here. I continue to get an error as result. Let me double click here to make sure we can just type it in the first part of the text that is in a cell. Just before I select the cell where I have the applicant name or the lookup value that I'm using as criteria, I'm gonna append here the ampersand, okay, ampersand, that is this symbol right here. I need to append, and then open quotations mark, asterisk, close quotations mark, like this. Now I can press enter and it's gonna work. enter, and that's it. So every time you don't know the entire text that is within a cell, we can just type the first part of the text that is in the cell. And then you need to follow this criteria right here, ampersand and asterisk in between quotation mark, and then use the search mode number 2. That way you can have the correct result. Applicant Gabriel, the writing grade is 992. Let's check if it's correct. So right here, Gabriel Mitchell, or just Gabriel, the grade is 992. Yes, it's perfectly correct. So this is how we can use if not found argument, and also an argument using the match mode, that is the number 2. Okay. Now let's see how can we use the exact match or next smaller item and next large item. Let's see these two. How can we use with this another practical example? Here to the right, I have a couple of different dates. The salesperson name, John and Maria. The total sold for each one of the salespersons in each one of the different dates. And also here the commission. Let's say if John sold 25,000, if Anna sold 28,000, 53,000, 3,000, and so on, they're gonna have different percentage of commissions. And the where that I can check these commissions is just here. So if someone sold less than or equal to $5,000, the commission is gonna be equal to 20%. If someone just sold, let's say, equal to $40,000 or more than that, or a value that is greater than that, the commission is going to be equal to 5%. But as you can see here, let's take this John as an example, $25,000. Where is $25,000 in the list? There isn't this option right here. So if we use the XLOOKUP function with an exact match, it's not going to work because 25K, 25,000 is not in the list. So there is no exact match right here. That way, we're going to need to use a different type of search mode to be able to use this and solve this practical problem right here. And we have two different options, exact match or next smaller item or next large item. Let's check both and see what is better here in this situation. Equal sign, XLOOKUP function, double click, 1, 2, and this situation right here can happen all the time. So whenever you have this a range, a condition, a criteria that is displayed in a range, you can use this same solution to solve your problem. The lookup value right here is going to be the total sold, comma. The lookup array is going to be the first column where I have the sales. I'm going to select everything that is about the values. But something important here is to press the F4 key, because when I click, hold, and drag down the function to make sure all the rows contain the same function, I don't want the reference goes down. I want the reference stay in the same position, stay right here. So that way it's important to press the F4 key to input the $sign before the letter and before the number to lock the reference. The return array is going to be the values, the commissions, the percentage, and I'm going to do the same thing with the F4 key to lock the reference. Comma. If not found, I'll leave it in blank, so comma. Now the match mode, I'm gonna change. If I type in the first one here, select, double click here, exact match, 1, 2, close parentheses, and then enter. As you guys can see, I'm gonna have here an error. As I said before, $25,000 is not here in the list. So this is why I got an error. But if I change the search mode, instead of using exact match, that is 0, I can use -1, that is exact match or next smaller item. I'm gonna double click here, 1, 2, close parentheses, and then enter. I'm going to have as result 10%. Why is that? Let's check here. So 25K, 25,000 is just right here, 10% of commission. Yeah, it's perfect right. Because if a salesperson just sold equal to this value right here or greater than, the commission is going to be equal to 10%. If you want to return, instead of 10%, return the 5%, that is the next value, you can use, instead of -1, you can use +1, just one, okay? Let's double click here in this function, 1, 2, to make sure all the rows now contain the same formula function. And as you guys can see, we're going to have here some errors, such as this one right here, this one, and this one. Let's see why this error is happening. So John right here sold $3,000 and got an error as the commission. Why? Because if we check here in the list, at least we're going to need to have here a value that is less than $3,000 to take the reference, the next one. So for example, if I change here this $5,000 to maybe $0, so If a salesperson sold from starting $0 up to 10,000, the commission is going to be 20%. If I press enter here, considering the sales equal to 0, it's going to be 20% from starting from 0, okay? You can see the arrow is, there's no arrow anymore, okay? So if I come back here, undo the action, so 5,000K again, as you can see, I got an arrow. But if I change to 0, now I have a start point that is less than what was sold for the salesperson. Enter, the arrow disappears. We can stick with this option, or maybe let's get back to the 5,000K, enter, and let's see what's gonna happen if I change the search mode. Instead of using exactly match or next smaller item, now we're gonna use the next larger item. Double click here, close parentheses, and then enter. I'm gonna double click in this function, 1, 2, to make sure all the rows contain the same function. Now we got an arrow in a different place. So all the numbers, 53,000, 41,000, 43,000, all the numbers that is greater than my largest value that I have here in this range, I'm gonna have an arrow. So maybe to solve this problem, we can have here a bigger number. So maybe 1 million, for example, like this. 1 million, and then the arrow is done, okay? So this depends on the type of search mode you are using. But I'm going to stick with the first option that we did before, that is -1 or exactly match or next smaller item. Double click here, enter, double click in the function, 1, 2, and the start point is going to be maybe $1, enter, that's it. So now we have here the correct result for all the commissions, all the salespersons, for all the values that each one of the salespersons sold. The commission now is correct, considering this range that we have right here to the left. Another practical example that we can use here, the XLOOKUP, because now we already see how to use the if not found, the match mode, be complete, all these different conditions. The last thing that is missing here is the search mode. The match mode is already done, but the search mode, we can use different options. First to last, last to first, and so on, so on. So with this practical example right here, I have a couple of different fruits, basically just 2 fruits, apple or banana, and the price. Let's say it's a common situation because there's many times you're gonna buy exactly the same product over and over again, but all the different times you buy the product, the prices can change. So one time you buy an apple or whatever the different product that you're gonna buy is $4.90, and then you buy it again, it's 15, and then you buy it again, it's 19, and then so on, so on, so on. So the price can change during the day, during the weeks, during the months, the years, and so on. So it's a common problem to happen. Let's say if I use the XLOOKUP function to return the price of the banana, what is the price you think the XLOOKUP function is going to return? The first item that I have here, 10, or the value that I have here, 22, or the value that I have here, 4. Tell me, what's the logic behind the XLOOKUP function? The XLOOKUP function is going to return, as a result, the first value, because this first value right here is the first time the banana, that is the item that we are looking for, appears in the list. So this is why I'm going to get, as a result, 10.5. Equal sign X lookup, double click here, 1, 2 to select. The lookup value that I'm going to use here is banana, and then comma. The lookup array is going to be the first column, comma, and the return array is going to be the price. Okay, I'm going to press here, enter. And as you guys can see, I'm going to have 10.5. That is the same, exactly the result that I said that is going to happen, 10.5, because it's the first appearance of this item, banana. And if I change here, let's say, let's delete this parentheses, comma, comma again, and comma again. Now I have access to the search mode. This first option is the standard one, so search first to last. This is how the XLOOKUP function works as a standard. If I double click here, 1, 2 to select, as you guys can see, the result is going to be exactly the same. Now if I change and use a search last to first, let's see what's going to happen here. Equal sign XLOOKUP, lookup value banana, comma, lookup array is going to be the column A, comma, and the result is going to be in the column AB, comma. Now the match, the if not found, I leave it blank. Match mode I'm not going to use. The search mode now is going to be search last to first. Double click here, close parentheses, and then enter. I have here a different result, even though I'm using the same function XLOOKUP. This is happening because the search mode is different now. So I got 17. This is why instead of sorting away from the top to bottom, as we are used, as the XLOOKUP usually do, now we have a sort from bottom to top. And the last item, let's say the way that corresponds to the value that we are looking for, banana, now has a different price, 17.10. So this is why we got here as result 17.10. The sorted ascend order or in descending order using a binary system is going to basically return the same exact result as before. And this is how we can use the XLOOKUP function in Excel through a couple of different practical problems and using different arguments such as if not found, match mode, and also the sort mode. We are always using these first three arguments, lookup value, lookup array, and return array, but these last three arguments here we are not always using in the Excel to help us to solve a practical problem or a daily basis problem. So now we know how to use all these different arguments in Excel through a practical way. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or any suggestions to the next videos, let me know, comment down below, and I see you tomorrow. As every day has a new video, I see you there.